I lost my partner of 18 years, and I don't think I can do this anymore. We met when we were 18, I'm 37, and he was 38, and I had just gotten out of foster care and started college for the fall. I was fleeing a party with my friends that the cops had just broken up, and when I got back to my dorm building by myself, after losing my friends in the scramble, I saw the cutest boy I've ever seen alongside a female friend of his throwing a color guard saber into the air just practicing. I sat on a bench by them shyly. I had only had my first gay experiences the previous summer, and at this point so I had the worst gaydar out there, until I decided I was out of eye contact heavy smirks and started to flirt with him. Eventually, he agreed to let me walk him to his dorm and I wanted to kiss him so badly, but I still smelled like the booze I sweat out while running from the party, and guys in our part of the country had been so cruel to him before this experience. He was nervous, and he got out one of his senior pictures and wrote his name and number on it and told me that if I wake up tomorrow and I like what I see that I can call him and we can take it from there. He said he was sure I would sober up and change my mind. I called him as soon as I woke up the next day and we would move in together the following semester and stay living together on and off again for the next 18 years, even moving to a different part of the country, leaving the Midwest for Austin, Texas. In that time, we had lots of highs and lows, but no matter what was going on in our lives we knew we had each other, and if you've never had a human care for you like that yet, it's an almost indescribable element to your life that empowers you once you've had it to reach out and do things you never thought you would be capable of. To take the types of risks that you wouldn't have the courage to try on your own, and to approach life with confidence in that even if this idea blows up in my face completely, I know this one other soul is unwaveringly in my corner. My partner's love for me was only matched by his intense phobia of hospitals and DRS in general, and it stemmed from him going a physical and finding out that he had some thyroid problems that even to this day I'm a little in the dark about, but I do know they demanded medications, and the experience really rattled him. Then when the pandemic hit, he started to fear sickness and hospitals so much that he became very agoraphobic, and in the last 5 years, he left our apt only maybe 7 or 8 times total. This includes trips for the mail, which was in our lobby, and I would just leave to get anything we needed otherwise. He had a great career that was completely remote, so it made staying at home easy for him, and it took adjusting from me. I loved to get out and to go to new restaurants/movies together, but I ultimately loved having this warm sanctuary life waiting for me when I got home, so I just made it worse by going along with it. He got sick about a month ago, and I felt like right away it was some type of respiratory infection, and tried to press him to go to the DR for it. He started to lose his appetite and lose weight, and I finally had enough and I took him to a fancy ER near me, and went in with him and filled out his paperwork with him, and then I stepped out when he went back to see a DR and I waited in the car. He came out and showed me the paperwork and said he had a lower respiratory infection. I've only had upper myself, and he was given a script for antibiotics and some steroids, and they told him it would get worse before it got better, and it would take the meds at least a week to help. Well, the last week was honestly a nightmare as he felt too exhausted to do much, so I was doing everything and then some so that he could rest and recover. At this point he's taking time off from work. Yesterday morning, he asked me to run him a bath and I did, and I was so upset with him. Now he looks as weak and frail as I've ever seen him, and I begged him to let me take him back to the hospital or the ER, or to just call them back and see what they thought he should do next, and I was so upset. He tells me he will call after his bath. He comes from the bathtub to our living room in just underwear and tells me to turn the heat up. He's cold, and I do that while I'm still playing PS5, and then he tells me he's going to the bedroom, and when I look at him next, maybe 7 minutes or less later, he's laying on his back and his eyes and mouth are open, and I fucking lose it. I'm screaming no 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 no, and run to him throwing my water in his face, and when that had no reaction I screamed even louder and I grabbed him and started doing CPR the best I could. I called 911 and they're on speakerphone now with me telling me to move him from our bed to the floor and to not stop CPR until the medics arrive, and the operator is counting chest compressions with me. I kept pushing down on his chest and feeling the air come out, but not by any power of his own, but he still had a faint pulse and was still warm to the touch, so when police and EMS arrived I still felt like this was bad but not over. 20 minutes later, the group of 15 or so people that showed up told me that they were sorry for my loss and left with him and Eve been screaming to pillows and squeezing our Shih Tzu baby non-stop since this all happened about 30 hours ago. I should have taken better care of him, and more than that I should have realized that he was so sick that mentally he had lost his capacity to make decisions for himself about his health, but he was so much smarter, safer, and just an all-around better person than me that I would let him dismiss my concerns until it was too late. He was my best friend, my biggest fan, my entire family, and now he's gone, and I feel so responsible for the loss of someone that meant everything to so many people. His family have always been so loving and supportive for us, that I can't stop wishing it was me. He didn't drink or do drugs. The riskiest thing he ever did with his life was love me, and still he died in such an undignified, horrible way that just thinking about it all makes me wish I was dead, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't thinking about giving up.